journey of a student to a killer. Um, Laurence Olivier once said that it's the story of a man who couldn't make up his mind. But I do feel that this interpretation or this adaptation by Vishal sir is rather contemporary, because the character is a lot more active as opposed to certain interpretations which are probably a little more passive, where it's about somebody who doesn't do anything, and if you see this content, you know that this guy does go out there and do a lot of things, which I think is a lot more relevant for the youth today, because I think the character is a young guy. It starts off with him being a student who comes back to understand of the dynamics that exist in his life at that time. It's based against Kashmir, which is beautiful yet tragic land, very relevant to our history. So yeah, very complex role to play, possibly the most difficult of my career yet, but equally exciting and challenging.
Yes, you see that, and I like what you said about the fact of the indecisiveness of the character, and here he seems to be much more taking things into his hands.
Yes.
Vishal, can we ask you, when you adapt Shakespeare, and in the case of Haider, is it a total rewrite, or do you actually retain certain aspects of the original? And in Haider, what is it that does not translate if you want to make it into the Indian context?
You know, Shakespeare, as I have been saying, that he has been my favorite just because his dramas are so, so juicy, and the conflict is so universal that you find those conflicts, you can find those in any society because they are the basic human conflict. And what was the first question?
The question is, did you have a total rewrite? How do you approach the adaptation?
Yeah, because I always try to remain true to the spirit of the play rather than the text words. And that's what I did in Omkara also, and I have taken those kind of liberties in Maqbool also. In Haider also, my ghost comes late. In Hamlet, the play starts with the ghost. So I have taken these kind of structural liberties, but all those milestones for which Hamlet is known for are there, including the Oedipus complex. All those things are there. But of course, it's a rewrite for me, and I see it as a completely my own work. So, it's very difficult to take Shakespeare's burden off your head, and especially when you're making a trilogy. But yeah, I have been like that.
Just one little aside, obviously the "to be or not to be" is one of the most famous lines from Shakespeare. How do you handle that in Hindi? What did you do with that?
I had many options, and in this we have 2-3 places, he says different thing, but basically for me is मैं रहूं कि मैं नहीं, और या है कि है नहीं, but मैं रहूं कि मैं नहीं is
beautiful, because very poetic.
Yeah.
It works very well.
Yeah, मैं रहूं कि मैं नहीं is to not to be.
It is. One last question to Shahid before we open to the floor. Shahid, can you tell me, in the beginning, as you said, there's the journey of this character and of Haider. In the beginning, you are an introvert. Now, that for an actor is quite complex to play because you have to make visible something that is internal.
Especially when you're given contact lenses to wear and you're told you can only act with your eyes because the character is not supposed to really do much. Yes, but when you're provided with such amazing content as an actor, when you're provided with a situation, I mean, one is usually used to doing movies which are largely single layered, so to say. It's very rare that you come across content as an actor, script as an actor, character as an actor, situations as an actor, which are complex. And I guess that's where performance can actually come from. I don't think any actor can go beyond what the script is asking him to do in terms of what he can put out there. I can only do what the character demands or the situation demands. And so when you're put in a situation which is rather complex, it helps you perform better. So I don't know about too many expressions or less expressions, or I don't really think of it like that. I just try to understand the character, his background, his mental state, and just try and be honest with how that character would be feeling in that situation. And I've pretty much played the whole role like that. I've never tried to think of, is this this loud or is this not loud? I think those things are largely governed by the director. If he feels that you're doing something which is not in sur, as we say,
In tune.
in tune with the rest of the film or the situation, he always comes and corrects me, and I have a fantastic relationship with Vishal sir on that, and I think we had a really good relationship when we did Kamine, but now I think it's grown a lot, especially after this film. I felt very dependent on him pretty much through the film. I would be very unconfident if I couldn't see how he was looking at, what his expression was after I finished a shot. I felt the need for him, and so yeah, I depended a lot on him, and if he seemed happy, I would feel like, I pretty much achieved what I needed to, and we're good.
Because I must add something, I don't believe that Vishal is someone who will compliment anyone easily. So that if he says yes, it's okay, takes okay.
He's very encouraging on set though. I mean, I've always felt that, a lot of people might feel because the kind of content that you do, you must be feeling maybe it's really difficult, or he pushes actors, or he, does stuff. But actually, he just provides you with a really, really good set of actors, a really interesting new background, and fresh content in terms of script. And all he does is encourages you on set. Actually, he's never been angry or upset with an actor. I've never seen him do that, which is, I guess, an amazing, amazing quality.
It is, definitely. I was told not to, I'm always tempted to do a master class, which I shouldn't do this morning, so I would like to ask you questions. Do we have a mic?
Yeah, just coming.
What would you do if you didn't do a master class?
I open it to the floor.
Hi, thank you both of you for being here. My name is Charu. My question is for Shahid. I wanted to ask you that now that the film is over, now that you've portrayed the character, what is that one thing which has lingered on for you in the real life after the film is over?
The hair grew back. I'm happy about that. Another thing to do. The beard is lingering on, although it's...
Yeah, we are thankful for that.
For the hair or the beard?
Both.
What's lingered on is this feeling of why didn't I do more films like this after Kamine? That's the one feeling that I felt the most while shooting Haider. It was a very enriching experience as an actor. And when you do films like this, it reminds you of why you wanted to become an actor, actually. And then a lot of other things take over. And I guess that holds true for any profession. We all get into something because, at a certain age, there's certain things which attract you to a particular profession. And then when you do it, there are rare opportunities where the things that you did it for are the things that you actually do it for. It's like that. So I really felt like I should have done more films like this after Kamine. And I'm very clear that I would want to do one such film every year for my journey as an actor. I hope I get those scripts and they come my way. It's rare, and I've been trying to convince Vishal sir to make one film every year and cast me in it. I'm trying. But yeah, that was the one thing that I felt the most.
Any other questions? Shabali?
Is this the earliest press conference you guys have done, or you've done early press conference? Checking. In case everybody needs some coffee or something.
This question for Vishal. Why Kashmir? Why the second?
Yeah, I had two options actually. Initially, I had given the background of an espionage thriller to Hamlet.
Which I had also said, sir, it's a great plan. And then he told me that it's a rubbish plan.
Yeah, so and I have worked a lot with a friend of mine on that espionage background. But once it was completed, Guldar Sahab was the first person to actually point out where is the tragedy in it, It feels like, any American spy thriller with you're just abusing Hamlet in it. So, and at that point I happened to read a Kashmiri writer, Basharat Peer's book called The Curfewed Nights. And I seriously think that Bollywood has not been very sensitive towards Kashmir, and that's the biggest tragedy, human tragedy of modern Indian history. And I have been reading about it a lot. I have been thinking about it a lot, that why we have not seen Kashmir from inside. Why do we always have to go from outside, like an intelligence officer goes or an army army officer goes. And I was just, these thoughts, were crisscrossing in my head, and I happened to read Curfew Night. And it's a memoir of Basharat growing through the conflict of 90s from his early age till, when he went to the college in Aligarh. So lots of things, even Shahid's character I have taken from Basharat's life. So I was very, very, my eyes actually opened about what this region has gone through this conflict and is going through. So that's where I thought that it will make the best backdrop for my film.
Hi, Priya Joshi from Spy. Shahid, the performance was amazing. Looking at the clips. I just wondered how you prepared before each scene, both emotionally and mentally. How did you brace yourself for that?
Well, first of all, I'm really glad we shot it where we shot it, because Kashmir has a certain character to itself. And when we went to Kashmir, we actually shot the film pretty much in 2 schedules, 25 days, 30 days each. And that really helped all the actors kind of disconnect from everything else and absorb the atmosphere that one was in and try and represent it correctly. So I think the fact that we were in Kashmir was fantastic. One was surrounded by a really, really, really good cast. One had the good fortune to work with people like Double Man, Irfan sir, KK sir, and pretty much everybody else on the film. That was something that helped me a lot. A lot of it usually comes from the script, so spending time on the script is something that's most crucial. And talking with Vishal sir, discussing various avenues of the script was very, very crucial. And beyond that, it's a rather personal, lonely journey when you play a role like this, because you need to understand exactly all the things that are going on in this guy's head, because there's a lot going on in his life. So it's instinctive, and at some level you need to find your connection with the part that you're playing, and that's how you kind of become the part. So, it's all big words, maybe you watch it and be like, or whatever. But that's the attempt, at least. Yes.
Thank you. Question?
Hello, I'm Ashley. I'm from Morning Spice.
Hi.
Thank you.
And we have mine.
Would you say that Hamlet chose his destiny, or was there a certain point when Hamlet could have decided, actually, no, I want to have a happier ending? Or
You want me to give away the story of the film?
just as you've got to know this character so intimately,
Yes.
would you say that destiny chose him, or did he have a point in his journey when he could have altered his fate?
Hamlet is a thinking man's hero. He's not somebody who gets up and starts kicking and punching people because there's a problem and resolves it, the way we're used to watching in a lot of movies, where the hero just gets up and breaks everybody's face or stuff like that, and it's all good. He's a complex character. He thinks a lot about life. He's very human, very real, very normal, very vulnerable. He's sensitive. He doesn't want to do anything that might be inappropriate. And because the film is a revenge family drama, he's very affected by the relationships that he has. May it be with Ophelia, which is Arshia, which is Shraddha's character in the film, or may it be with Gertrude, which is his mother's character in the film, which Tabu's playing, or may it be with his uncle, which KK is playing. And because all the conflict lies within the family, it's more difficult for him to do something radical or drastic. But he's also a bit, he obviously has to be extremely passionate and extremely determined to eventually go through the journey that he goes through, which is why I say he's not passive and he's very active, because he chooses to participate in his destiny. So I wouldn't say that he molds his destiny, but he definitely doesn't allow things to take their own course. After a certain point in time, he is a reactive character and not a passive character, for sure.
We're going to go soon for the last question. Suman?
Yeah, just a minute, I think. Yes, hello. My name is Suman Butcher. I'm representing Asian Culture Vulture here. Just two short questions for both of you. Vishal, Bhardwaj, now that you've done the tragedies, another Shakespeare, a comedy, Much Ado, Love's Labours, is that in your thinking? And Shahid, now that you've played him on the screen, would you like to perform Hamlet on the stage? It's a very coveted role.
Yeah, now actually I want to make 3 comedies, and a lot of serious stuff has happened for me, so now I really want to get into comedies. Definitely.
Do you want to say?
I mean, there are lots, like Much Ado About Nothing. We were just talking in the car about Much Ado About Nothing, and so there's so many comedy of errors. Though last time I made a great film on comedy of errors, but so many comedies are there. It was fine. Okay, thank you.
I think I'll get very exposed if I come on stage, and all my shortcomings will come to light. I think I have the good fortune of working with filmmakers who can edit the portions of my performance that are probably not up to the mark. I would love to see my father do some stage. I've been telling him to do that because he's, he started on stage. I'm very curious about it, but I don't know if I'm capable of doing anything on stage for that matter.
One last question there, sorry.
Hi, this is Amrita from BizAsia.
Hey.
Hi, welcome to London. And yes, I think I have been to a press conference this early before. I just wanted to ask, Shahid, you've done, in the last year or so, you've done a lot of comedies, and I see you as one of the most versatile actors in the industry. You've just said that you hoped you have done movies like Haider after Bamine. Do you think this is a space that an actor like yourself kind of needs to explore after doing comedies, or do you think it should be varied? I mean, do you like get into the skin completely and then can't do a comedy in between doing the intense drama?
Questions. How do I put this? To do original work, you need to take risks, because I think originality lies in spaces which haven't been explored before. So it's not really about the genre of film, whether it's serious or whether it's comic or whether it's emotional or whether it's dramatic. I wouldn't say that, but it's important to step out of your comfort zone and do things that you haven't attempted before, because that's the journey essentially that an actor is trying to take. I guess that's why you become an actor, because I think you become a star by default. There are too many factors. I don't think anybody can control their popularity, but being an actor is well, it's a skill set, and if you want to attempt different things, then you have to do films which are not the regular stuff, and that's something that I would want to do, because it's I don't know, it's a part of my journey, my creative journey or whatever. As a person, it helps me understand myself better, maybe, I don't know, but I always try and attempt different stuff. That's something I've done some hideous work also trying to be different, but then some really good work has also happened like that. So I'm happy trying to change myself once in a while. I like that.
Well, thank you all for coming. It's really, as you says, a bit early. I believe there's coffee and tea outside. And thank you all again, and thank you, Vishal and Shahid. And we really look forward to seeing this film. It's going to be one, clearly a most unusual film. And for those who didn't follow the dialogue because there were no subtitles, the dialogue's very good.
Thank you.